Hallihallo, ein neues Life, a new life from a yogi's life in the pandemic. And today I'm speaking with Eva. Hello. Let's see if it works today. I already sent you, Eva, the invitation. You have to somehow click there and then you should be invited to the stream. Sometimes it helps to write a comment or something, and sometimes it just needs time. So let's see. Yeah, you already got invited. I'm looking forward to see you and speak to you. Sometimes there's also at the bottom a there. I can now get you into the picture. Perfect. Eva kann nicht vor die Kamera gebracht werden. Invite. Okay, I haven't had that before. Interesting. What do? We could try to start the stream again. Maybe that helps. Are you there with your phone? Hi. No, it works. It says you being added into the stream. Yes, anyway, today we talk again with a yogi practitioner, and I will ask a bit about their past 12 months, how they spent the pandemic, and what have been the obstacles and the highlights, the lowlights. And I really hope that Eva is managed to join. I tried to connect, but the app is just freezing. Okay, maybe you restart the app. So now it's working. Yeah. Hey.
Hi.
Okay, nice to see you. Yeah. How are you feeling?
Good. A bit tired. I didn't sleep so well last night, but otherwise really good.
And Rebecca is also there. Hey, Rebecca, nice to see you. So before we start, let me introduce a little bit. So I'm doing this pandemic series now because I was a bit tired of just listening to news and media, and always we get those numbers and death rates, and I was more interested in real people stories, and that's why I started this. And I'm so happy that so many people are like open to share a little bit about their life. And I will ask you some questions. We can chat a bit, very easy, but if you don't like any question, just say skip or something. I'm not offended, and then we continue to the next.
Okay, no problem.
Right. Okay, Eva, you're born in Germany. Are you in Germany at the moment?
At the moment, yes. I wasn't here all the time. I was actually very often on the road during the pandemic, but yeah, at the moment I'm at home, and I'm just waiting to go to Israel. Like I'm moving to Israel, to my boyfriend
Oh,
to Israel.
moving to Israel. Wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so we were waiting all the time that my visa got approved, and now it got
Yeah.
approved. And so soon they open the borders also for me. I'm going there.
And you're there. So you actually
Yeah.
have a boyfriend from Israel, which is pretty interesting because the pandemic there is a bit different, in my opinion. I don't know. I just hear something from the media, but it seems that they are a bit more strict on the one hand, and on the other hand, they are vaccinating a lot. And what is
Or
your
like I got
insight?
yesterday a video from him going into a club and everybody lived normal life. So I don't
Oh,
know. I
really?
have to be in lockdown here at 10 in Bavaria or like 9. I don't know anymore.
Yes,
Like you
yes.
can't leave the house. There's nothing happening since November. But yeah, so they kind of enjoy normal life again. What I find like it's
Crazy.
the light in the end of the tunnel. Yeah, you see when everybody's vaccinated, normal
Yeah,
life can happen again. So it's positive, you know.
yeah.
Nice.
But you're not allowed to enter yet.
No, like we were actually in Dubai for 2 weeks in January, and we just wanted to meet for 2 weeks so that we can see each other again
Yeah,
because it's
of
not that
course.
easy at the moment.
Yeah.
And then we got stuck there because Israel closed their borders even for their own citizens. So I packed for 2 weeks, sunshine, and we ended up going for 2 months, and we were 1 month in Dubai and 1 month in Tbilisi, and it was not properly like
But that
closed
sounds
up.
also interesting somehow.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, now
Quite,
he's home and finally he could go home, but it wasn't that easy. Like they seriously closed, like it's crazy. Germany never would do that, or
yeah,
everybody would protest here so hard. But yeah,
yes.
they really closed the borders on their own people. So
Crazy. Okay, before we dive too deep into the topics, probably because some people don't know you, probably you can say just a little bit about you, who you are, and how your lifestyle normally before the pandemic looks like.
okay, like I'm independent. I work like for non-profits and
Yeah.
do the communication for them. And so I'm in the home office all the time, usually already.
Mm.
So
Okay.
for me, that wasn't a big shift. But
Mhm.
I actually started the yoga teacher training because I'm a social being and I miss that so much, like in my day-to-day life. I like my
Yeah.
work, but I'm sitting all the time on the computer. You talk with people on social media, but you never have to contact.
Mm.
So I started yoga teacher training out of that because I love yoga and I wanted, like in my mind, it was like teaching yoga in the morning and then going in front of your laptop and doing, your work.
Yes.
So that was the game or like the goal. But yeah, then the pandemic came and that
And changed
got
everything.
disrupted. But yeah, after our yoga teacher training in January, I was teaching for 2 weeks in Sri Lanka or so. And then we
Ah,
were
did you?
in lockdown and then I couldn't anymore. But
Yeah.
brief moment I could do what I wanted to do.
So we all were in India just before the lockdown, and you went further to Sri Lanka then, is that correct?
Like I went from Goa to 2 weeks to Israel, like to Tel Aviv,
Ah,
and
and
I
there you
didn't meet
met
there
your
my
love.
boyfriend actually. No, no, no. He
Okay.
was in India, but like we got to know each other during the pandemic in Sri Lanka actually, and he was in
Ah,
India, like in Palermo. I never can say that. Like 10 minutes
ah,
away from us, but I didn't knew. So
oh,
I flew back to
Palolem.
Tel Aviv exactly, and
Yes,
he
okay.
was in India. So
Wow.
we missed each other actually. And I was just like, at that time, I was already in Tel Aviv before. I really loved it.
Mm.
And for my first yoga teacher training, I just had a feeling diving into like normal life was just too much. You're
Mm.
such in a blissful bubble in the yoga teacher training. Everything is so positive, and then immediately going back to work with bang, 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 this and that. I was
Mm.
like, okay, first I go 2 weeks to Tel Aviv, concentrate on yoga also still a bit, let it sink. I was writing so many flows. I felt so creative after the yoga teacher training. And I also searched me the job that I got like in Sri Lanka then. And I didn't want to start immediately, actually. I wanted to go home for a while, but the people pushed me kind of like they really wanted a yoga teacher now. So I was 5 days back home and then I gone immediately to Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, I really realized the corona pandemic then because there was for 2 weeks and then we had to go in lockdown. Like they had a lockdown, like you had to stay at home for 5 days and then you were allowed to go out one day. So
Ah, interesting.
that was
Different.
yeah, different, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, and then I had to go somehow, like all the flight got cancelled, and
Yeah.
then I had to go with a rescue flight back home. Like I was thinking going
Ah,
home or not, because it was
ah,
very nice there, you know, like
yes,
I
yes.
had like a bungalow next to other yoga teachers, like we were three,
Yeah.
and had a garden together with a garden kitchen, and the monkeys were running around. We had wild
Did
peacocks in
you
the backyard.
regret it now when you look back?
No, definitely not. Like, it goes on so long, and it like I was talking with the embassy and also said, yeah, do I have to get that on this flight? And yeah, yes, you do. We will not send another flight if you don't get on it. We don't know how long it lasts. You will
Mm.
be, have to stay there. And my
Oh,
family was worried, and like alone for them, I wanted to go back. Like,
yeah. Did you, at this time, did you have felt fear because the whole pandemic was a bit like unknown and maybe you felt in danger, or was it were you pretty relaxed to the whole topic?
we got through very rough up and down, and that was not because of the pandemic necessarily. It was more
Mm.
getting off this island because our flights get canceled all the time, and we both like at that time my now boyfriend was there also. Like he was actually visiting me for one day, and then we
Yes.
got locked down, so we got to know each other very intensive because he had to stay with me because of lockdown. So, but at this time we tried to get both off of the island, and it was not really easy. Like we constantly like yeah, something got canceled, plans got changed, and for me it was like okay, sometimes I just stepped on my yoga mat and everything was fine again. I was very in a yogic spot in my life still then, so
Yeah. Mm.
I was not really afraid. Like it was
Yeah.
more like
No,
okay,
good.
we have to get home and it will not be easy, but I was quite chill still.
Did you got sick during any time of the last year, or did you got the virus?
Oh yes, yes. I was blessed, so we got it in Dubai. Like that's we
Ah,
don't
in
know
those
how. I guess
two
it
months.
was most probably one of the mutations because we were very careful all the time.
Hmm.
And yeah, we were both blessed to not have it really a lot. Like
So a soft, mild.
yeah, like surely fever, and I was like 2 weeks after that still like a potato a bit, like but it was fine. Like nothing, like I do now workouts and everything. I don't feel anything.
How
So,
do you know
and I
that you
know a
got
lot of
it?
people,
Did you do a test? Or...
yeah, we got a test and got like I was still fine, and he already suffered it the day before.
Hmm.
And then I done in the morning still my workout. In the afternoon, I was like with fever in bed. I was like,
Okay.
okay. Then I was like, okay, I don't get fever just out of nowhere. I knew what it
Yes.
is at that
So
moment.
you both knew it, and at this point, did you got worried? Like, oh shit, now we got corona, and it can like be very bad, or you still had some security that it's all right,
Like,
life will be all
and
right.
that I think like for me, because I was like we were both not like I had like massive headaches where like electric shocks in my head, and that was not so calming. But in generally, I really yoga and like how you be in your life helped me so much in that situation because I think if you don't really have it that bad,
Yeah.
um, the biggest threat actually for yourself is that you go mentally crazy because you hear so much of
Exactly.
the virus
It's, it's
and
like in your
like
mind, and it's almost like a
exactly.
placebo. Like shit, I have the virus that kills people around the world. Like, and then your body gets
Yeah,
sick by psychosomatic almost.
yeah. And also like I told my friends and they were not best respond. They were like, yeah, the 5th day should be the worst or so. And I said, I'm actually okay. And I think okay, things like that you don't want to hear when you have
Okay.
it, or like the long-term effect you will just see after 3 weeks or so. I said, yes, please just say something else.
Yeah.
But I really tried to stay positive, and I knew that a lot of the things can just happen in your mind, and I tried not to worry. I was thinking like you will handle it when you have to handle it, but um, I think also you stressing your body in that moment is the worst you can do. So I really tried to stay
Absolutely.
calm.
Yeah.
Like
Is that?
my
Do you think
boyfriend
that?
had a bit of tough.
Do you think that
Yeah,
yoga practice and the teachings helped you to keep in that mindset to stay calm? Was it yoga or was it
definitely.
something different?
No, it definitely was yoga. Like my boyfriend also was thinking once he has like a really like maybe a heart condition already coming up or like breathing issues, and then we meditated just for 10 minutes or 20, and everything was fine again. Yes, so it is that your mind can run crazy, but it's totally normal because we're all in this corona bubble. But you just have to calm yourself, be present, and really connect with yourself, and then be like, okay, I know you have to take yourself away from that, like how I am really right now, despite all the news and what you heard before.
Yeah.
And then it's much easier, but it's tough. Like I think you have to be quite a yogi person to
Do not freak
yeah, go
out.
through that calmly. Like it was for me also very tough. Like, yeah.
And your family, how did they react? Because you were somewhere in the world, in Dubai, and like you've got the virus, and maybe they are a bit more, I don't know, afraid or not. How did they managed it?
Um, my, I told my sisters, and like my niece heard it on the phone because we every time have voice messages that we send each other, and she was crying. So I was
Yeah.
really feeling bad for that, just to make loved ones feel bad for me. And I made my sister tell my parents because I didn't want they to just hear that like over the phone. And in
Yeah.
Dubai, you also can't like WhatsApp and things like that is denied, and so I couldn't even
Oh,
call
really?
them.
Okay.
And so I made my sister tell them. But yeah, I was also all the time trying to make them feel good. Like I said all the time, yeah, I had fever and now I have some headaches, but I'm really okay. I'm really fine,
Okay.
and try to keep them updated how I'm doing.
So afterwards, you left Sri Lanka, you came back to Germany, and then you left again to meet your boyfriend,
Ireland.
basically, into Dubai and Georgia, or where was it?
Yeah,
Georgian?
like that was like the last 2 months before we gone once to Ireland and
Island.
Belgrade.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
how do you manage to travel in those times? Like everybody should be home and you manage to travel. Is it easy?
No, it's not. Like we every time it's tough time. Like I would have not traveled, wouldn't it have been for that we wanted to meet. Like
Yes.
definitely I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But your life is on hold for such a long time. It's not like short. And we just came fresh together, and we definitely wanted to see each other.
Love is
And
stronger than any
yeah,
virus.
exactly. Like I couldn't come to him, and like on the beginning, he was also not allowed to come to me, like he was then once in Germany. But we tried to search a place where we both could fly, what was not easy already, and where we don't have to stay in quarantine for the first 2 weeks we see each other. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of researching, a lot of Airbnb search, a lot of this and that, and I can't like I'm so happy when I finally can move in April to Israel, and I don't want to fly anymore. I don't want to see Airbnbs anymore. I just want to have my own place.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, for us also, we were just a day before the pandemic, like no, after. We were in Bali after India, and then we came back. I was in South Africa in between. Athena was in Thailand, and then we met in Bali again. And then we flew back to Greece, and that was where one of the last flights where they really cut everything down. And then after in October, we also went via England to the Caribbean. So we also like we used the gaps where you more or
Yeah.
less were allowed. And then just after the Caribbean, I visited Germany for a second, and then I came back to Greece. But it was like exactly on these tunnels of
Yeah.
where you were allowed. So it's yeah. I traveled a lot this year too.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's like if you do it carefully, like in day-to-day life, I'm very cautious. Like on until December also I was very like because I was planning to move, I don't have like my own home here at the moment. When I'm coming back, I stay with my
Yeah.
parents, and they take care of my grandma, who is like over 80. So I barely
Hmm.
saw anyone when I was here. Like I really tried not to have any contacts, and when I came back or so, then I also, like, it's a big house, I stayed for myself and all these kind of things. So you can be from day-to-day basis very carefully. And then sometimes I just said, okay, today I fly, I try my best and just risk it, but you can't be lonely for a year all the time, kind of, you know, like
Absolutely
sometimes you need a
not.
break.
Yeah, I spoke yesterday to Sally, and we just figured out that what makes us really human is the contact to each other and an exchange and communication. And a screen is very limited, so those real touches and like real energies, like
Yeah.
coming together is super important.
It's missing so much, and I think Corona also distanced you so much from the society a bit because you have to, you know, keep your distance. And I also noticed that people kind of more look on the floor and don't really into the eyes of each other anymore, you know, like
Yeah.
yeah, I go like as an active meditation every day, like an hour on a walk in a park. And I made, for example, my habit to smile at least one person on that walk every time and
Oh,
just
wow.
sending the vibe like, we got this, we're in this together. And like, it makes me happy every day. And I think that are small things you sometimes can integrate just to connect us with other people again,
Yeah.
you know? So
That's a very nice sharing to go for a walk and smile to one person. I love that.
I'm a very big believer on like the energy flow, what you kind of give away, or like I don't want to send negative energy away. Like it's more like positive energy or creating it, and doing small favors you still can do, you know, like baking some cookies for your friends and just leaving them on the door or something like that. And try to make the people you love smile somehow. And then that's how you can be there for them at this time still. And things like that also make you happy all the time, you know? Just the thought of it.
Yeah. So my next question is, where would you be now if there would be no pandemic?
In Israel for sure. Like, yes, I would definitely have my apartment hopefully already in Israel. Like, since months, that's already the plan. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And do you think
can't.
you have missed out something because you were not allowed to go to Israel, or you were not allowed to stay to invite someone, or did you feel you have missed out in those past 12 months something in your life, or missed lifetime, like lost lifetime?
No, I don't know. I don't think necessarily that way. Like, I do. Um, when I could have gone already to Israel and be with my boyfriend all the time, but it's not that I'm thinking, yeah, because of Corona, I'm missing out on so much. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just we all go through it day-to-day life, I think. And
Yeah.
I think I already feel so blessed that I even like live here, but I can see the light in the end of the tunnel because I can go to Israel, and because I
Yeah.
had it, I'm most probably also get very soonish a green passport and can normal life again, like live normal life again, what's really nice.
Okay.
But yeah, it's okay. Things like this happen, I think,
Yeah.
and you never know the mysterious ways how the universe is kind of working. So
Absolutely
like
not. No.
because of Corona, I also got so close with my boyfriend, you know, like he most probably just would have visited me and then moved on and traveled because that was the plan. But he was
Yeah.
stuck with me there for 3 weeks then. So we got to know each other really well. So yeah.
Yeah, if you manage to stay in the quarantine like so close, so many days together, you are good for the rest
Good
of
to
the life,
go.
probably.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell me a little bit about your practice? Do you have a routine? Do you have a specific practice you do? Which one is it? And can you keep that practice while you're traveling?
No, I'm so bad with it. Like I'm very much like when I'm talking now about practice, it's just about asanas practice because I do practice yoga as a lifestyle every day, I think, and that's for me much more important than the pure asana practice.
Yes.
But like the physical practice, I don't. Now, when I'm traveling, I'm really much like how the environment is when I do yoga. Like I also can't. I try the swim yoga thing, but even if I take part or do it, I don't like it. Like I do my own thing. Like I need the people. And I also need a calm environment around me. I can't just roll out my mat in the hotel room and be like, okay, do it. That's not working for me.
Yeah.
Like, I rather, and maybe also out of the mindset that I had the feeling I have to get stronger for this pandemic, I stick more to a strengthening practice and some yin yoga from time to time, every time,
Yeah.
like quite often. And that's, yeah, like I also had shoulder issues, so strengthening was a bit on my list. But I do it, like I do it every week, but I'm not like a daily asana practice. But I, like in other ways, I do yogic stuff every day. Like I write every evening things down I'm grateful for or things like this. Like
What
that
are you
I
grateful for
today for our
today?
talk, catching up.
Yeah.
There's so many things. Like no, like I sometimes was just happy to try a new recipe and it turned out great, or I don't know, like there's so many things you can be grateful for. And I think sometimes you had actually a few good moments during the day, and then the end of the day was not so good. But when you write it down in the evening, reflect what was the nice things from the day, you
Yeah.
every time sleep with a smile on your face back, and you don't, your last memory is not something negative. So
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think it
super
helped a lot.
important. Yeah, it's super important. Also, I had a time where I said to myself something very nice in the morning. The first thing I thought was something, the day is wonderful, or I am beautiful, or whatever, something nice that makes a difference how you just wake up and how you start your day. And the same in the evening. I don't do it for me personally. I do it mostly in the morning, but I often do gratitude meditation. I don't write it down, but I like find things what I'm grateful for, and those, let's say, energies or whatever that is that creates this gratitude vibe that helps you just to lift up your
So
mood.
much.
So I really agree on that helps.
Yeah, it's changing your perspective a bit, and it's all about how you look at things. And the gratitude practice makes it, yeah, your outlook is just such more positive.
Yeah, yeah. I find that a very yogi practice. So
Yeah.
for me, practice doesn't need to be just asana or need to be asana. Of course, sometimes it helps, and there's a reason why asana is there. It keeps us also healthy, I think, but it's not that the other thing is not a practice, in my opinion.
No, like for me, it's also like I started with yoga, I guess, like a lot of Western do, like more out of the physical practice. But for me, it's much more like a way of living now and staying joyful, but also at the same time accept yourself when you're sad. Like I'm crying on my yoga mat for so many times, especially after yoga practice. And it's just like, you know, washing everything off. And after
Yeah,
that, my boyfriend was in the beginning of the time worried sometimes, like, are you in a bad mood? I said, no, I'm just crying for 5 minutes and then I feel actually great again. So
yeah,
it's sometimes you just have to feel it out and stay connected with
yeah,
yourself, also your subconscious. So yeah,
yeah.
but you can do that in so many ways without even being on your mat, just being cautious and practice all these things what Sudhir taught us in our yoga teacher training.
Absolutely. So we're going all, I think, through a big transformation those days. The whole world is somehow changing enormous. And did you, I imagine, yes, but did you also have your personal transformation? And what would it be like? Can you describe, give us a little bit of insights into that?
Oh
Did
yes,
you,
like I I lived like before the pandemic such a different life, or like I just ended a relationship and I like lived somewhere totally different, and I I also thought like I will go with this partner. I don't know, we were planned sometimes to go to Australia together or so, but so that ended. And like after the yoga teacher training actually, because I just felt how for me how much more easy everything was without the person, and I was burned out from this relationship completely.
okay.
And after yoga teaching, I just noticed how nice it was, like when you're surrounded by people who also support you and be, you know, like so compassionate. And I miss that, and I just noticed that I'm giving way too much in without getting anything out. So I left that, and then I got to know, like, in Sri Lanka already my new boyfriend, and now I'm moving to Israel. So it's a lot of changes happening, and also work-wise, I don't know, it's different. So in 1 year happened a lot for me. Definitely,
Yeah.
it was
Do
transformation.
you think you gained a ability or a characteristics for your character, like you feel more self-precious or more strong or more whatever, I don't know, or less fearful, or did something
Yes,
change that? Yeah.
I definitely learned just to trust the universe a bit sometimes. Even like I'm a big planner, like I love to plan things, you know, but Corona
It's not working so
doesn't.
well in the pandemic at the moment.
Yeah, so I try to accept sometimes just that things change all the time. And
Yeah.
even if I don't know what's happening in the future, like I also moved now to Israel. I'm not really sure how it works out with my job, but I'm just trusting that something comes up.
Yeah.
And I was definitely more fearful before with things like that.
Yeah.
And I like, despite being the pandemic, I sometimes feel very, very lucky, even if I had Corona and all these things when they happened to me, I was very, very lucky every time. So
Yeah.
I feel blessed, and I do sometimes just think, okay, you don't know, but something comes up and it will end well. So yeah, like it definitely got me stronger also just to go for it
Mm.
without knowing what will the results be, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you, from a maybe more yogic or let's say spiritual perspective, do you think Corona happens for a reason?
I think it's such a big picture I don't understand yet by myself, but I think it learned us a lesson, like all of us, like that family is so important, that we shouldn't take things for granted that much. Like drinking a coffee outside, feeling safe, like in some other countries, we don't have that every day, you know, like it's a
Yeah, true.
bless and we take it for granted. And I think we did learn a lot. Like also, you know, home office working, like you can combine family and home office much better or things like that. Like a lot of stuff I think changes us from now on. And like I'm a huge environmentalist, so I'm a bit sometimes worried that the whole Corona stuff takes the attention away from that. So, but yeah, like I think sometimes our generation is so blessed and had not really a crisis to go through. So maybe this crisis teaches to take some other crisis also more like serious, that
Mm.
things can switch really fast, you know, and then maybe also
Yeah.
taking like the environmental crisis more serious or things. But I think that we will see in the long run.
Mm. Mm. What could we do better as society?
I think it's sometimes we're just thinking too much for ourselves. Like I find in some, like I'm surrounded by people, especially when you're in the yoga world, where everybody has compassion for each other. But I'm
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
in a big picture, that's missing so often. Like just trying to make money for yourself or big corporation. Like
Yeah.
that's,
Taking
we could
responsibility.
live good. Like all of us could live good. And I sometimes could hit my head in the wall because I think, why
Why?
don't we?
Yes.
Why? You know, if
Why?
somebody
Why is
has,
it? Is it the
yes, it
greed?
doesn't.
We still have so many like non-yogic attributes, character attributes.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like that some people own so much money also and some nothing, and you, it's like it's also a trend that's not really going, like it goes up all the time everywhere kind of. And I think compassion is something we're missing, and that's something we should learn again for each
Yeah.
other.
And
Yeah.
often a crisis is a good start for a change. So probably we
Yes.
can take this as a chance to become more compassionate, to look more for
Yeah,
the
and we
environment.
all need each other. Like, you know, like we all in this together. If we don't behave all right, we don't get out of the situation
So yeah,
globally.
that's a good keyword, behaving all right. Mm, I often have a dilemma in my head: what is all right and what's wrong and what's true and what's fake news. how do you know what's right, and how do you know what's true, and where do you get your, how do you make your mind like to believe something? So
I'm generally very skeptical, like as like when I done my master's and also my bachelor's, like I done it in political science before. So I'm just used to trust information who come like studies or so. So when I read something about Facebook, I'm every time very critical. But sure, there's so many people also on social media who don't have a degree or anything who say the truth. But I'm very cautious what I leave in my bubble and from who's this information coming from. And if it's a very radical view, I will definitely check on it very like from different points if that's true also.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Our world in 10 years, do you think we managed to get through, and how does it look then?
Like if we get through the pandemic or in general through everything? Like yes, I'm positive. Like I think in some countries we will need longer because also with the vaccines and everything, not everybody is on board with it.
Yeah.
And I think we also have to still learn, like even here in Bavaria, we are actually in lockdown since November, and I sometimes think there have to be a better way than just that.
Absolutely,
But I do think we are learning. Like I'm also sometimes when people say, "Oh, these rules are so dumb," I think like yes, there are, but at the same time, do you know better ways? You know, like it's not easy, and also the people who decide it don't have it that easy. And I see the light on the end of the tunnel also because I go to Israel. But in general, I think we will get through this somehow together. I'm positive. I believe or have hope that people have enough compassion for each other still for behaving or like trying their best and for the society in some way.
Okay, I have two more questions, and I imagine because you're such a sound like on cloud nine of focusing. But tell me one highlight, and tell me maybe also one low light of the past 12 months. And
Okay, highlight
if you
is hard.
can, pick a specific situation.
I said low light is easy for me. It was definitely before Christmas time.
Okay.
I was sleeping not really well for 2 weeks in a row, barely 3 hours every night.
Oh.
And like it's winter in Germany, it already sucks, you know? And
no light, yeah, I know.
no light and the weather's bad. And I just noticed in winter we usually have so many traditions to, you know, distract ourselves from the fact that it's outside really bad. You bake
Yes.
cookies, drink glühwein with your family. There's so many social activities usually, and they all were not happening. So it was just gray weather all the time and isolation kind of. And I'm usually try to be aware of what I let myself like what information gets to me and on what comes into my bubble, what kind of energy. And at that time, I couldn't run away from all the negativity because my friends were not good, family also, like everybody was suffering from Corona so much. At work, like I'm working for a bunch of doctors also who are non-profit, who done the PCR test center and the vaccine center. So at work, I just had Corona, and everywhere it was just Corona, 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 and I could not run away from it. And then I was really like sad. Just also I didn't knew when I will see my partner anymore. Like we didn't have anything in mind that it will work, that we will meet. Like it was very spontaneously that we met then in Dubai.
Yeah.
And I was definitely I also didn't like I tried to make my gratitude journal and I was just sitting there, I was thinking, I don't know. Life sucks. So yes, but everybody goes through that. And like I think yoga also taught me that it's okay to feel like that from time to time, you know, and just go through it.
Absolutely, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. And I think high would be hard to pick, but I guess most recently just that I got accepted to Israel. And since then, I'm very happy that finally my life is going there where I wanted to be, like
Yeah.
since months already. And we don't have to travel from places to places or to Airbnbs anymore, and finally
Yeah.
have an apartment again. So, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And one last question. Um,
Okay.
I have the feeling, and I get it from many sides also, that there is a big awakening happening between us, inside us, like people awakening and people speaking of awakening and transformation. Do you have the same feeling, and what do you think is awakening?
I do think it is like with all the people even getting vegan or zero waste more and all these kind of things, like I noticed like I'm it since a while, and like I don't know, I started with beginning of my 20s, like 8 years ago already. And everybody, when I done that, everybody said every time, you're crazy. But now you see
Normal.
people are like so much more accepting to that, or questioning their behavior and wanting to do something good for everybody, and don't want that their action cause problems in the world.
Yeah.
So I do see that a lot of more people think about their actions and the consequences out of that. So no, I do like also to yoga. It's such a trend and it's not breaking, you know, like so many people also from the beginning it was more like, okay, yoga, the physical practice, but not the other stuff, you know, that's like pfft. And now so many people are more open to that, like they actually like to meditate and
We
want to
can
learn
talk
things they
about it.
incorporate in their life. Yeah, so I do think we kind of awaken a bit from this whole consumer bubble and more focusing on what's really important in life again.
Getting more conscious about quite everything
Yes.
around us.
Yeah.
Hey Eva, thank you for this nice
Thank you.
exchange and sharing. I'm very grateful.
Yes. Thanks for having me, and say nice regards to Athena.
Yeah, I do. And maybe we can catch up in a few weeks again or months and see how you have a
I can
talk
make an
from
update from
Israel.
Israel.
Yeah, that
Yes.
would be nice.
Yes.
Okay, I wish you a wonderful Saturday and weekend, and thank you.
Yes, thank you. You too. Enjoy your day.
Bye bye.
Bye.